Shalom, my name is Lydia Aisenberg. I'm originally from Britain, from South Wales in Britain, and I've been living here in Israel for well over 50 years. The reason I left Britain, and please note that I said I left Britain and not, as most people will say, made aliyah. Aliyah means, of course, to emigrate to Israel. I left Britain. I had to choose, or I felt I needed to choose where to go to live because I felt I could no longer live in Britain. And the reason was anti-Semitism. Students at school, pupils at school, always were complaining that my nose wasn't big enough to be a Jewish nose. There were those that pulled my nose in order to help me with the problem, to enlarge it. I didn't have horns or a tail, which was terribly disappointing for some. In any school I ever went to, I was the only Jewish kid. How did people know I was Jewish? Well, my family name was Greenberg, and that was such a giveaway. And so kids at school would spit at me, pull my nose. Even when I was 11 years of age, one of the teachers asked me to stand in front of the class and explain to all the children why my family killed Christ. That's the type of anti-Semitism I'm talking about. And my first job interview when I was just before my 16th birthday, a typist in an insurance company, where the gentleman who was interviewing me, who happened to be the branch manager, sat me down and said, listen, Lydia, we really would like to employ you because you have the highest speeds in shorthand and typing of any of the girls that we've interviewed so far. But unfortunately, we've got a problem. And that problem is that the insurance company has a policy of not employing Jews. So let's see how we can get around this problem. And for 3 months, I was no longer Lydia Greenberg, but Lydia Green. He was the first person who suggested to me that I take the berg off the end of my name. And I began employment at that insurance agency. However, I felt after a couple of months that I couldn't deal with that. It was very difficult. You know, people call you Miss Green, and I wouldn't answer because I was so used to being Greenberg. Or when they would ask me my name, it would take me a while to say Green and not Greenberg. But eventually, after many incidents of anti-Semitism, I decided to come visit Israel and to see if I could find my comfort zone here. I didn't want to become religious. I was very much a hippie in the 60s, very much into equality, working for the better of all, so on and so forth. And I came to Israel in order to find a comfort zone where I could give and at the same time to help to build myself and a Jewish identity that I would find comfortable. I came to Israel and here realized that there were things I could do, that I could help to build. Remember, this is the 1960s. That I could help to build something, formulate something here, and at the same time strengthen myself and my identity and the who was I at the same time. I came to kibbutz, I married a kibbutznik, or a member of kibbutz that would be. 5 children, all grown up here, and today 12 grandchildren. And today we're very proud to say that we're still a kibbutz. In other words, this is a community where nobody receives any more than anybody else, and in the spirit of the kibbutz as it was many years ago. I became very involved in many different things during my time in the kibbutz, but outside of the kibbutz and activities bringing Jewish and Arab people together. But in the kibbutz itself, I learned how difficult it was also to keep the values and to live by the values that we so believed in, that you were constantly tested. That was a long time ago. I have no regrets about the decisions I made by myself at that time. I have many regrets about how the state of Israel has developed over those years. In myself, there's a great love for the country, but that at the same time, I'm rather worried about what the future holds.